Ministry of Police have now spent 11 months in office since we got appointed together with our colleagues in cabinet for other departments. So it's not yet 12 months, it's just 11 months and a couple of weeks after that. What we have done in relation to the work that we're here for, it's something that we have to thank both the leadership of organized labor on one hand and top management on the other for taking us through paces of the goings on in South African Police Service, which is quite an important department in the life of government and the life of the people in South Africa. It took some time to get us to understand all the details and dynamics and everything inside SABC. And the understanding that we now have, we owe it to the two that we've spoken about, and we thank them. And one of the things we got orientation on was just the organogram or the organizational structure of SABC and how it relates to SABC's work and where challenges are and how those challenges are being addressed, and how that addressing or that attention to those efforts could be enhanced and accelerated. And we're pleased that we've worked together all the time to look at just that part of the organogram or the organizational structure. The organizational structure is very important because it's an instrument overall that you use to deal with your challenges in that particular department, especially in SABC. What we did thereafter was to identify areas where changes were necessary and were important, and we started working on those amid other challenges. And of course, everything that we sought to change together, having agreed that there needs to be changes here and there and so on, we work together. The ministry, the organized labor and top management. But the emphasis all the time was on systems. What is the system that is operating here? Why? Because we realized that we can't be fragmented in terms of the approach. Whatever we must do must conceptualize a system so that tomorrow improve on that particular system. So the changes are systems driven as it were. But in doing so, we're influenced by the priorities of the 7th administration, about which you are now familiar: inclusive economic growth, and then interventions on cost of living, and then the final one being ensuring that the state grows its capacity to deal with challenges in various aspects of government. Now, one of the things that we then zoomed into was to police South Africa in an environment where you have growing unemployment and therefore implications, unwanted as they may be, on criminality of some people and young people in particular. But where numbers of police are not, or the population is growing and numbers of police officers isn't equally growing, we then had to say how do we effectively police South Africa and with efficiency where you are competing with such challenges and so on. And of course, there are other challenges within the environment of policing that we had to cope with at the same time. Now, we then realized that one of the things we have to do is to optimize whatever we have. The numbers that are inadequate, optimize. The budget that you don't have, you don't have enough of, optimize. Equipment and resources and other resources, optimize. Everything needs to be optimized so that you do with little what you otherwise wouldn't have been able to do and attain. Now, the recent crime statistics, as you would have been aware of the fourth quarter, indicated a decline in crimes in South Africa, and we took note of that and said to ourselves, if we could attain these decreases, it means there's a way to go. It's the right direction. We must make more efforts in that direction. We know that we still are far from getting to the level where we want to get, and satisfying that criteria where people must say we feel safe now in South Africa. When we are in our homes, when we walk around and all of that, we still have a lot of work to do in that area, but it was worth noting that we now have this consistency of decreases in crime that are reported in police stations as reflected on our crime stats for the fourth quarter. Now, in April this year, we convened a national policing summit. This was a culmination of a lot of processes, as I've indicated. It just didn't spring in as a show or as a public relations. It was to say, because we've been doing work in different areas of policing for some time, how do we harness those? How do we make sure that we come up with a synergized kind of era or dispensation in policing, making use of what we've shared together, what we've discussed and resolved on a number of aspects. It was logical that we would seek to have a platform like the National Policing Summit would offer, and stick together with various other stakeholders in policing. And indeed, for 3 days, we sat in the Emperor's Palace dealing with various aspects of policing, just to make sure that the potential that South African Police Service have is demonstrated out there with more effective, with more efficient policing in the country. We know South Africa requires quite a lot of effectiveness because of a number of people that are taking chances in various and committing various offenses and crimes. And we're delighted that we held that meeting, that summit, and it proved to be a success. Now, one of the things we came out from the summit with was critical enablers, that as South African Police Service do their work, there are critical key aspects of their work that requires that they require support for, and we call them enablers. In other words, if you address them, South African police would be much more effective and much more efficient. One of those, it was not that it was coming out of the summit for the first time, But in terms of efforts and emphasis and the need to focus, we realized that it had to be focused on is technology, the impact of technology in policing. All the stakeholders that were there, and as we see it now, everybody is agreeing that technology is a must-have as an enabler in various aspects of policing. Whether you are in detectives, you are in intelligence, you are in the police station itself, almost everywhere, you need enhanced technology. And we are quite committed in enhancing our capacity consistently, not just in line with what we can afford, but even far higher than what we can afford. And therefore, technology is a key component of our overall system, and it covers a range of areas in policing. We recognize that, and we are working on exactly those various areas in which technology is being focused on. And the second area of importance that we agreed on is crime intelligence, that it needs to be strengthened and it needs to be brought right to the driving seat in our policing so that we become much more effective and optimize. The other one, enabler, is forensic services. We know that it's important that where forensics are important, we don't delay cases, we enable progress as fast as possible, especially in relation to rape and murders and all of that. We're working on various projects along those lines, including in KZN, in Mpumalanga, even in Gauteng, and we'll be making announcements in due course on progress in that regard. Then the need to improve infrastructure relating to police stations in particular. We're working on that. It's an important enabler on the ground, both in terms of image, but also in terms of real work. The environment in which police work, it's very important that it must be enticing, it must be inspiring, and it must have all amenities so that it facilitates their work when they are in the police station. We are therefore working on that. Now, of course, the healthy relations between us and organized labor is one other very important enabler in our environment, so that we pull together to one direction. And we're grateful that organized labor attended our summit, and we have been enhancing our relations going forward, even on the organizational structure itself, the details of which are going to be announced today by the National Commissioner in terms of how we move forward. But the changes in the organizational structure have been completed. All the negotiations have been finalized, and we thank them for facilitating those discussions and making sure that we pass through that phase with relative ease, including in the triple SBC. Now, what we want to see going forward, and we dare say so, is more visibility of police. We take recognition that our crime stats for the fourth quarter indicate that quite a number of crimes get committed in open space, in public spaces, so to speak. Now, it requires us to attend to those public spaces via visible policing, so that we close that space against potential commission of crimes by criminals. even though we still say that we are not adequate in numbers, but want to make up with changes within visible policing using the numbers that we have in that particular aspect. And we're delighted that those plans are taking shape and they are going to be implemented indeed. The next one is a division within or division of, or the split of visible policing, and visible policing and operations aspects. And National Commissioner will be talking to that and making announcements in due course. But it is necessary that we tighten up on a combative side of policing due to the type of crimes that are being committed and the nature of organized crime these days as being committed by criminals. We needed to sharpen our response via divided visible policing into two divisions, as it were. Now, the next aspect we need to talk about is well, functionality in a number of supporting areas, so that we don't frustrate people on the ground in police stations who always complain about this and this. In other words, less bureaucracy in the operations of people on the ground, but whatever bureaucracy, it facilitates easy work at the police stations, who are the real engine rooms on the ground where people live, and that is necessary and highly necessary. We also identify the need to intensify partnerships as we do work as a very important aspect of enablers. And it is for that reason that we thank Business Against Crime on areas of where we are jointly working together. There are a number of projects that we are working on today together with them. In particular, there are 5 police stations that have been identified where we will be equipping police stations with state-of-the-art technology. Just 5 in the country that have been selected by National Commissioner and top management. And that work will be starting as soon as possible to do just those as pilot projects. There are other areas of work that have been identified that we work together with them, but they are very much on board. We're enhancing the other aspect of cooperation with metros, where we have signed agreements to work together. We're expecting a letter from Nelson Mandela Bay, where we will be going as soon as possible, in line with the agreement that we signed with them to make progress, including on cameras and other technological aspects to enhance policing in those areas. But it is all work in progress. We want to take note of the intervention of the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime, and we have a project that we're doing together in Cape Town on Grassy Park Police Station, and it is taking shape indeed, and we are looking at expanding that particular type of projects to other police stations elsewhere in the country. And recently there was a meeting on Monday in Cape Town on that score. National Commissioner will be talking in much more detail on our intention but dealing with what is already being initiated or implemented. What we intend doing in the next couple of months or so is to develop a new system of promotion within police, vertically and horizontally, so that that system becomes a kind of an incentive to recognize dedication and service on the side of police officers, just to motivate them and so on, and not depend on vertical promotion only, but sideways as well via other incentives. National Commission will be talking to that at some point, and want to systematize that so that it becomes a system that we use than just an intervention that comes and then goes. We do recognize dedication of police officers. They spend years and years of dedication in a dangerous environment, risking their lives. Each police officer is not a machine that goes here and there. Is a full human being with a family and with their own lives, and they need to be recognized for that particular reason, and they are an irreplaceable resource in the protection of citizens of this country, and therefore it was imperative that we spend no resources. I mean, we spare no resources in terms of recognizing that. We do want to mention that there are some SABC people who are still intent on being bent on spoiling the name of SABC by engaging in various acts of criminality. This is something that we will always be alert to and deal with. And this is evidenced by no less than 392 dismissals in the last financial year, which we would rather have wanted to avoid. But we note that this year there is a significant lower incidence as such in this aspect. And we believe that this is due to work that is being done by top management, and want to credit them for that. And we are otherwise warning that, or issuing a warning that we need to we need to have our officers avoiding getting trapped into these kinds of unwanted things that dent our image as SABC. There are examples for this, even in courts, as on the 19th of June, where some members were found guilty and all of that. Now, we want to proceed to the taxi industry, that we note that there are still persisting dependence of this industry on violence and blood in the industry. To say they want to sustain that industry through blood and increased acts of non-compliance in terms of the rules that apply to them. And then they want police to police the whole industry on a daily basis. We just want to be straight on this. Police, South African Police Service are not guards for a commercial industry like the taxi industry. They are not guards. And we're going to be finding a way of attending more to our duties rather than supervising or working as guards in the taxi industry. We just want to say there are many other industries, commercial industries in the country. We are not required as police to go and play cards in those industries. But the taxi industry still stands out to say in order to sustain the taxi industry, there must be blood, there must be shootings, there must be violence, and all of that. And then blaming police, where were the police, and so on and so on. They still believe that they have to be violent against one another to sustain their industry, and we regret that. And so we are saying to them, find ways of sustaining that industry, which we so need as government for transporting citizens in the country, but without blood, and it's doable. Comply with the rules that municipalities and the Department of Transport gives, and create peace and find ways of resolving your problems amongst yourselves without wanting to be policed by us. Of course, we do spend a lot of resources in that industry, regrettably, but please take care of yourselves and your industry as leadership. Now, at this stage, I do want to express that we are committed to implementing within the SABC all the imperatives that we have agreed on, and we take this as a moment of renewal for SABC as such, and we want to see SABC working like South Africans expect them to work. And in this instance, I want to make reference to one coach who is known to have made a statement that I want to quote, that says, it is rather unattainable. No, perfection is unattainable. But if you pursue it, you find yourself landing on excellence. And therefore, we know that as we chase perfection, which I am saying we are chasing, we know we may land in excellence. And that is where we want to get to from now onwards. We will get there, definitely. At this stage, I want to hand over to National Commissioner as per your directives, spokesperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister of Police, Mr Mchunu, the Deputy Minister, Dr. Bushielo, the Deputy National Commissioners that are present, Divisional Commissioners, President of POP Crew, Tulani Ngwenya, Vice President of SAPU, Mr. Njime, members of the media, good morning. Start with, our men and women in blue remain hard at work in creating a crime-free South Africa. Through various takedowns and arrests we have been able to disrupt the work of organized criminal networks across the country, and for that we are grateful to our men and women in blue out there that are working day and night. We therefore take this opportunity to applaud them for intensifying the fight against crime and a special focus on serious and violent crime, as well as the scourge of gender-based violence and femicide. Just the past week alone, we had 13,950 suspects who were arrested for various crimes, including 190 for rape, 2,041 were found to be in possession of drugs, 99 for illegal firearms, 82 for hijacking of vehicles, vehicles which were seized and confiscated. There are some of the successes achieved through Operation Chanela 2 on a weekly basis. Ladies and gentlemen, today we gathered here this morning, as the Minister said, as an indication by the Minister of Police to outline the strategies and plans that we are continuously implementing to boost and improve the morale of our dedicated and hardworking members. We've come to realize, of course, to focus on and sustain, for us to sustain the downward trajectory on the decrease of reported crimes, management must also do its part in order to improve the lives of our members by ensuring that they have the right tools equipped to do the job. They are remunerated accordingly, and we create an enabling environment to retain the pockets of excellence within the service. We are therefore taking this opportunity together with organized labor to outline some of the significant changes and benefits that we are offering to our employees. With regard to the 5,500 new police officers to join the ranks, I'm pleased to announce that before the end of June 2025, we will be advertising the recruitment of 5,500 police trainees to join our ranks. The training will commence between January and February 2026. You'll remember that we have decreased the age limit, we have increased the age limit to join our ranks from 30 to 35 of age in line with the National Youth Policy. For the first time in history of our organization, we are also introducing online electronic recruitment system, which will allow aspiring applicants to apply online to join our service. So we are doing away with the paperwork, so you will be able to fill in the form electronically and then submit thereafter. However, we do have backups in case there might be problems. The system has been tested, looks to be quite well functioning, but of course any new system sometimes do have some problems, which as and when they come we'll be able to deal with that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving away from the manual way of doing things and embracing the use of technology to tighten our control measures and enhance accountability. The introduction of this online electronic recruitment system aims to avoid allegations that manual applications have been lost or misplaced in the recruitment process. We will also utilize this opportunity to remind applicants that to apply to join our ranks is free and there is no fee to pay. No one should therefore ask an applicant to pay any fee to secure them a place on the training program. We warn scammers not to try their luck because we have in the past apprehended 2 civilians that were found to be offering aspiring applicants to join the SAPS, charging them a fee. I'm also pleased to announce that we currently have 5,500 police trainees at various SABC academies nationwide. Some will graduate in August this current year, while the rest will graduate in December this current year. All 5,500 will be deployed to various police stations and units to bolster our crime combating efforts. We have been hard at work in ensuring that we increase our footprint and bring service closer to communities that we serve. In the last 5 years, we have managed to build 31 police stations across the country. This includes Bulubedi Police Station in Limpopo, Kaza Police Station in the Eastern Cape, Tafosek Police Station in Western Cape, just to mention but just a few. In terms of capacitation through Project 10,000, we have been able to increase our numbers on the ground. In the past 3 years, we have the 30,393 more booths on the ground. These newly trained police officers have been deployed to various police stations and units, including our detective services to put perpetrators behind the bars and to enhance detective performance. Our public order police unit to enhance our crowd management capacity and capability. Our forensic science labs to increase the processing of forensic evidence, which will ultimately assist in the conviction of perpetrators. Of course, some of these are still undergoing what we call workplace training, which they will be finishing the end of this June. In terms of detectives, I'm also more pleased to report that this financial year, more than 4,000 new police officers will be joining the detectives. The bulk of the detectives have been recruited from the newly trained constables that are currently receiving their workplace exposure at various police stations in the country. And upon completion of their probation, they will be deployed to grassroots level for policing where crime is reported. Additional detectives will also be deployed to the top 30 high contact crime police stations, which are stations that are mainly experiencing high level of contact crimes such as murder, attempted murder, rape, GPV, and assault cases. These police stations are in the main, in the high crime weight provinces, that is your Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Western Cape, and Eastern Cape. We are also still embarking on the releasement of former police officers that left the service in good standing, and we will also be embarking on the recruitment of detectives on contract basis, which include retired and seasoned detectives that resigned in good standing. More than 785 detectives will also be added to the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, DPCI, to boost their national priority offenses, serious organized crime, and serious corruption investigation. We have also listened to the cry that more needs to be done to keep our hardworking detectives happy in a bid to retain them. Of course, we acknowledge that we might not be able to compete with the private sector that might have enough financial reserves. We have thus taken a decision to introduce the Detective Investigator Scarce Skill Allowance as an extra incentive from this current financial year, 1st of October. This extra incentive is over and above the increase of the service allowance that our operational members are currently receiving. In the crime intelligence environment, 300 more operatives are currently undergoing the necessary training. Upon conclusion of their work exposure training, they will be deployed to various provinces to enhance the intelligence capacity. An additional 675 forensic science laboratory analysts and crime scene experts are also still busy with their workplace exposure training at station level, and they will, at the end of this period, which is this current June, they will be deployed to our local criminal record centers to boost our crime scene management experts with the aim of expediting evidence collection at crime scenes. Others will also be deployed to our forensic science labs. We have also trained 5,000 public order police members in the last 2 years to enhance the capacity for our crowd management in the country. This capacity is indeed bearing fruits as members are able to contain and deal with crowds. With regard to 10111 call centers, from the newly trained police officers, 575 call center operators have been trained and deployed to serve as call takers and 10111 centers across the country. This has greatly assisted the service to ensure that much more rapid response to crime scenes, crime-related emergencies. And of course, in terms of technology, we are also upgrading the system in this regard. With regard to station commanders, to ensure that there is increased productivity and service delivery at station level, we have filled 150 station commanders' positions at various police stations. This includes stations in the main high crime provinces. We have also introduced a mandatory station commanders induction course, which is over and above the station management learning program for all newly appointed station commanders. Such courses assist in enhancing the much needed skills and knowledge required to run a police station. In terms of scarce skill allowance for high-risk units, as a way of retaining skills and talent within our high-risk environments, we are today introducing a scarce skill allowance for the National Intervention Unit, commonly known as the NIU, within the SAPS, that respond to many high-risk incidents such as cash in transit robberies and NTM bombings. Later on this morning, we will be conferring operators badge to 35 qualifying NIU members that have undergone the necessary training over the past few years. We are also pleased to announce that we will be increasing the scarce skills allowance of the counter-assault team, commonly known as CAT members, also to respond to high-risk operations and also protect the VIPs. Last year, the management of the SAPS aligned the ranks of special task force units to the entry level to that of a warrant officer, and also increased their scarce skill allowance as a retention strategy. So in that regard, there is no change. These changes within the high-risk units are crucial in ensuring that we retain the specialized skills within the service. Among other environments that will receive a scarce skill allowance include the following: the hostage negotiators, the SAPS divers, the airborne law enforcement officers. These are officers that work within the air wing environment. They are deployed at air wing units across the country. We will also introduce scarce skill allowance to our coastal skippers. Skipper is a driver of a ship or a boat, and also our vessel handlers, those that are dealing with searching of vessels and ships. Normally you'll find them from border police. They are responsible for conducting inspections on vessels that come into the country. In terms of grade progression, from 2018 to 2023, more than 57 officers have progressed to higher ranks, and this include from constable to sergeant. It was 35,639 were promoted. From sergeant to warrant officer, it was 6,107 who were promoted. And warrant officer band 1 to warrant officer band 2, it was 15,405 who were promoted. So for this current financial year, we are considering progressing 10,000 constables and sergeants that are more than 11 years in their current rank. An additional 1,000 warrant officers will also be considered to be progressed to a higher salary band. I'm also pleased to announce that for more than 2,000 Public Service Act employees were promoted to higher levels since 2018, and for this financial year we'll be having more than 3,149 critical vacant posts at supervisory level for both Police Act and Public Service Act personnel. Also, what we will be doing, about 80 Public Service Act employees that are currently attached to the K9 school in Roodeplaat and mounted unit in Potchefstroom, who are breeding and training animals, will also be translated from Public Service Act personnel to Police Act personnel with effect from 1st of August. We currently have a fleet of more than 43,000 vehicles in all provinces. Budget has been set aside to procure more vehicles for operational environments, because the first priority will be given to police stations and units that are working operationally. We are also focusing on improving the efficiency and effectiveness of our police garages by we will be employing more artisans, and also purchasing tools for the servicing and repairs of vehicles within those garages. We will continue to enforce the law without fear or favor, and I thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the Minister as well as the National Commissioner. Before we open up to questions, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to afford the President of POPCO an opportunity to speak, and he will be followed by the President of SABC in that order. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister, DM, National Commissioner, Leadership of Management, the DNCs present here, members of the media, and my colleague, the Deputy President of SAP. We want just to confirm that the 100 days of the administration, of the 7th administration, for us as organized labor, have shown some progress in the sight of the police. The principle that have been laid down by the minister from our summit, now we're starting to see action taking place. As we indicated before, that we are no longer want to have talk shows, but we want to see implementation. We applaud the manner in which things are unfolding now within our department. As much as we're still having some challenges facing our department, but we can see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Firstly, to confirm the progress on what the National Commissioner have indicated on making sure that our members do benefit. We are confirming that the work has been done. It's not a talk show. Agreements are ready. We've got pens sitting here as president. We are ready to put mark on those papers. They've been dealt with, are ready, they're just been cleaning up. On issues of the detective, on the allowance, we are confirming that. On the issue of DPCI, we are confirming that. We are also confirming the issue of grade progression, of which will come handy to our members. as we all know that our members have been complaining that they are stagnant down there, but the initiative by the minister and the DM and the National Commissioner and the entire management were confirming as spoke that we are moving forward. We are not always been complaining that there is this and this. We know where to sit, we know where to differ, and we know where to agree. So now we want to know that our members, all of them, wherever they are, that what is being said today is the truth, and we are confirming on their behalf that promises that have been made or issues that have been said by the National Commissioner are going to be delivered as said so. We are also confirming on the scarce skill allowance, as we are going to be seeing some members of the NIU are going to be inaugurated today. We are also confirming on the issue of CAT. This is work in progress. We know that others will come with complaints and say, but what about us? Look, every journey has a step. You need to take a first step towards. At the end of the day, we want to see all our members happy so that they will be able to deliver on their mandate in terms of ensuring that South Africa is safe. And a safe South Africa will come from members who are happy in their working environment and who are making sure that when they wake up, they go and work with diligence and respect so that they cannot be convinced by other people to take wrong things because they know that their employers cares for them. So we want just to confirm on all those issues, including those members on the K9 and the mountain unit. Those are the members who mostly of you don't know them. But to see a dog working outside, it takes for that particular individual who is not being identified and known to be doing the background work. So with the management of police as well as us as the union, we have seen a need to make sure that we do something for them. They are going to be translated. There are going to be those who don't need, they will do something for them. So we are happy as Pope Crew, and we are proud that for those who are saying maybe there's nothing that is happening in the 7th administration, they must think otherwise. Because the matter here is about how do you engage, how do you resolve your issues amicably. We are not agreeing on everything. We differ on other things, but we put those that we differ on the other side and progress on those that we see they are a beneficiary on our workers, because this is not about us, this is about the workers on the ground. Our pride and egos will never help our members on the ground to deliver on the service that is needed. So as Pope Crew, we are very much proud, and we are thanking very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Minister, and thank you very much to the management of the police, the members of media. Ours is just to confirm that there's a lot of work that has been done. This is the outcome of the summit that we had. But we must agree that the issue of crime concern everyone in this country. It concern us as members of labor, it concern management of the police, and it concern media and members of the public. But those who are on the forefront are members of the police. And us as labor, the most important thing is the working condition of these members. And we've been engaging with management, we've been engaging with the ministry with regard to the conditions in which these members are working on. So we are glad that today we see the outcome of the resolution of the summit, or the resolution of the summit. Also the fact that there will be an implementation. There's been an outcry about the issue of promotions. Most members are leaving the police, and we want to see the retention strategy of the police being implemented, that we don't lose the skills, we don't lose these members. You will have heard that the commissioner stated that the members are going to be trained from January. It takes almost a year to train the members of police. And when you lose one, you lose the skill. We know that we have members that have been killed on a daily basis, which is one of our own concern. We are glad that we're going to see almost 5,000 that are going to be enlisted in the police. The issue of the members that have been in the detective environment, most of the detectives are working out, are going in the private sector because they feel that their morale is low. But I think it is important that we have engaged with management now to make sure that we retain that skill in the detective. So I'm not going to repeat much of what has been said, but the most important thing, 10,000 members that are going to be promoted. We've been complaining about this for many years because these members are now 11 years, and we all know that 10 years in one rank is a concern. But at least management have engaged the ministry with regard to the issue of budget. We now know that there can be an implementation to make sure that we deal with this. We ourselves as POP crew, as Labour, we are ready to see the implementation part. It is important to note one thing, that there's been a relationship, a good relationship between ourselves as Labour, the ministry, and members of the management of the police with regard to the implementation, to see that at least at the end of the day, everyone in this country will be safe and feel safe, and they will know that the police are working hard to make sure that South Africans are safe. Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now open it up to questions. If you are seated next to a microphone, may I just ask that you make use of it? Alternatively, may I just ask that you be audible when you pose your question? Please do state your name and media house that you represent, but as far as possible, please also just identify as to which member of our panel your question is posed. By a show of hands, can I please if you have questions? I have one hand. I see Tony's hand as well. I've got two hands, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, in that order, we'll start with the first hand and then we'll continue.
Good morning. My name is Patricia Fasache from the SABC. I have a couple of questions, not really related to today's briefing points or priority points rather, but the developments within the news that are linked to SABC investigations and work. Really just updates that we need in terms of these matters. We want to know whether there are more arrests made linked to the Likona Forse murder. If we can get maybe an update, if there aren't any, we can just get that update. Perhaps an update on the 3 bodies that were found in the Tepisong area. Are there any developments around that? We are seeing, the protests in Soweto that are springing up again. What's the operational? If we can just get updates in terms of what are the investigations around these questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll take the second hand for me.
Morning everyone, Police Mr Mchunu from EMCA. So I have a few questions, some are related to the briefing. Maybe the first one around the briefing is there a set sort of timeline for when you say that we have done what we wanted to do from the policing summit and this is what we want the plan that we are talking about to look like? And also just to follow up on that, I guess it's sort of been touched on. Is this an admission, I guess, that the public has been failed in terms of policing and that things just haven't been working and so you need this new plan? And then the promotions, the allowances that are coming in, the hiring of more people, how does that fit into the policing budget? Where does sort of the funding, how is that going to be managed? And then other not related case matters, maybe the first one is, we know the police captain was in court on Monday and that case is now postponed to September, I think it is. But there have been other cases of police rape, especially where I could also send out a statement on Monday, especially about Gauteng. Just a comment on that, and you talk about the training of police officers. Should people want to join the police when there is the risk that something will happen to them? And maybe a comment from Pop Crew, about the protest that Pop Crew had last week on the issue of sexual offences in the police force. are we going to take another round of questions?
We will. I think we have a number, so we will. If we can have Minister respond to those that he's able to, and thereafter we will get to National Commissioner and General.
Thank you very much. With regard to the first question was around the matters. With regard to the matter of the force, we have one suspect arrested. It's been going through the criminal justice processes. That's the only one. There's no any other one. And on the 3 bodies found at Tshepisong, we are investigating that case. We did learn that it is from a vigilante attack, and we are investigating those 3 matters currently. We have deployment of both your crowd management POP units and Metro Police with regard to the protests both in Ekurhuleni and in Soweto. You should take note that there were protests related to the electricity, which ESCOM looks like they did respond in assisting that regard. On suspects on the matter of the IFP Member of Parliament, Mr. Stolle, we will be aware we have those that are arrested. The outstanding ones is 2 that we are looking for, and we definitely sure we'll have them very, very soon. We are on that track. We know who we are looking for, and you have seen we have put a reward out, but we definitely sure we'll be able to round them off in a very short space of time. The timeline on the issue around the resolutions of the policing summit, some of them are these ones that we are delivering on them. Some, unfortunately, they are budget base bound, so we won't be able to deliver some of them on a very short space of time. But there will be, especially on technology-wise, there will be a number of technologies that will purchase this current financial year with a view to better our policing in the communities. On how do we deal with promotions and limited budget? Yes, we reprioritize within the current budget. It's not that we did get extra budget. We reprioritize within the little that we have and make those specific allowance and grade progression possible. And of course, also not negating the tools of trade that we must procure to assist police in doing their work. And of course, one of the important aspects is training that we emphasize this year, that we are going to make sure that we train quite a number of members. And you have seen, we spoke about the station commanders induction workshop or course, which is quite, it comes handy making sure that station commanders immediately when they get, before they get to the job, they must go through that course so that we know that they know what is expected of them. And as I said before, that does not mean that they are not supposed to do station commanders learning program. They must still do that, or some have done that already, but they must, before they take up their post, do this induction course, which assists them quite a lot. Rape or sexual offenses, yes, we have seen a number of these crimes happening in our academies and or in the police, and we have dealt with most of those of our members that are perpetrators thereof. I know that in Philippi College, in this very college where we are, we have dealt with members that have made themselves guilty of sexual offenses, and we are not saying people shouldn't join because you will find rapists. It is only those, just like at every house there will be one or two rotten potatoes. So we fortunately, it is us SABS that deal with them, and both disciplinary and departmentally. So we encourage people to join, and of course we also undertake to do some talks with our trainers regarding this type of crimes, to refrain from doing this type of things. The past year, we dismissed 23 members that have committed sexual offenses. Well, some of those cases are investigated by IPID, which deal with them criminally, but on our side in SABS, 23 of them has been dismissed, so we do definitely deal with them decisively. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. On our protest, it's always the case that you guys accuse us when we don't raise issues that are wrong. You accuse us. You only say, yeah, you're defending members who are doing wrong things. When we do good things, you also don't appraise that, to say, oh, even the union don't like what is happening. So we raise that sharply to say colleges are not brothels, and people must never use their power wrongly to new students and exercise them in a manner that is unbecoming. We are happy that the National Commissioner listened to us when we raised this issue of an incident of sexual abuse at these colleges. So now we need to you look at us both positively. We criticize where is wrong because we don't support any wrongdoings. Even if police doing the wrong thing, we are the first one to stand up and say we don't want that to happen. So we will continue sensitizing our members and making sure that wherever they are, they must not abuse their power against those, in particular in this country when we're facing a serious issue of GBV. It's a problem that young children and young employees will come to the work employment just because they're supposed to gain work experience. Now they have to do sexual favors. We are not in support of that. I think it should be clear to each and everyone that as Pope Crew, I think even SAPU will never support any other endeavor by any other member of Pope Crew or SAPU who will abuse his power wrongfully and demand sexual favor, even for promotion, even for any other thing. Anybody must get whatever it deserves because of merits and everything. So we will continue raising this issue of sexual violence and also abuse of power wrongly by those who are in authorities. We'll never keep quiet just because we are a labor union that represent workers. We must also criticize them, because even in our meeting, we talk about that they must remain clean, they must do their job in accordance. So we are restoring dignity in this institution, which the public is looking at it as an institution where police must come out. But how will they have then that trust in the police if sexual activities happen in the institution? So as Pope Crew, we stand by that. We'll continue doing that so that SAPS, when they act, they will never say, no, we are afraid of the union or whatsoever. They must know that union supports them. that they must follow the process. That individual, a rotten potato, as the National Commissioner have said, must be uprooted so that we were left with police officials who are good. Thank you.
The other question is about, we've had 2 reports where parents of minors say that they've gone to a police station to open a case against other minors because of school bullying incidents. And they've had issues at their police stations where the police don't want to open a case, where the police convince them or try to convince them to talk to the parents of the alleged perpetrators. There's talk of money being exchanged there, or police facilitating a process where money must be given to the other parents, whatever. So just a comment on that. And is that maybe a training issue? We've been talking about training. Is that possibly a training issue where, I don't know, the police officers maybe don't know what they're supposed to be doing in that situation? And also maybe just a comment on how complex it has been having to deal with issues where minors are involved, because we kind of seen that there's a lot of that, and there's obviously considerations that have to be made. And maybe just to answer, what exactly does the training of a police officer entail? We heard that Nzime talking about it takes 11 months, almost a year, sorry, to train a police officer. You know, there've been complaints about if you go to a police station, they don't seem to know, and all the issues there. What exactly does the training of a police officer entail?
Thank you. National Commissioner?
Thank you very much, MCA, Mr Mchunu. There are protocols that are set out in terms of Child Care Act, as well as the protocols that must be followed in respect of Child Justice Act, where the police at the police station have been given the directive to simplify these 2 acts and what is expected of them. It will not be correct for the police to mediate where the money is being exchanged. However, when the matter is reported to the police of a child of any age, there is 2 categories that the law observes, and the provisions of the Child Justice Act in terms of a child that is below the age of 12 and children that are above the age of 12. So the national instruction gives the discretion to the member that receives the particular matter at the police station to these two pieces of law that I have mentioned. Look at the best interest of the child, and the fact that the issue of opening a case against the child who is in conflict with the law need to be viewed as something to correct the particular child, to reform the child from being a delinquent. So it will be around those issues that it's either the matter at what level compels the arrest, and there must be a very clear directives, or the issues that the police will look at to make sure that the child who is an offender, it's been looked at. That entails if the child has fixed address, whether the child has absconded when he was detained or arrested before, whether the child will probably recommit if not kept at youth care centers that are in different areas. But then I think specifics on the reporting, the reporting must be noted, the information note must be completed, and we get the designated probation officer to intervene, not the police themselves, but the police as adults, they also need to use the discretion on how to deal with issues. So what I want to reiterate is the fact that there should be a negotiation or a mediation at the police level without utilizing the applicable experts that need to do so if a child is really a delinquent. Otherwise, the child will be released to the care of the parent for further investigation. But if the child is seen not to be the one that can be released, he will be detained, but immediately will then be transferred. So the police has the duty in terms of these pieces of law and the national instruction that was issued, which was outlining or simplifying how the act should be undertaken, and it cannot be linked to the issue of training, because during the basic training, during various trainings as well, we do reiterate some of these issues that needs to be followed. There are forums, child protection forums at each and every police station that also outline how the police need to deal with children in conflict with the law or any other child.
I think one of the questions was the issue around what the training entails. Well, the training entails functions that are being done at the Community Service Center, which means members are taught how to take down complaints, how to take down statements, and also how they should attend to those complaints, dispatch vehicles to attend to complaints. They are taught on what is crime prevention and how to do crime prevention. They are taught basics of crime investigation, that is elementary to the detective work. Every police have those basic in terms of what are the elementaries in terms of investigation of crime. They are taught in terms of how to deal with accidents. They are taught on, of course, on how to use firearms, and they are taught in terms of quite a number of laws which entail or are applicable to policing in terms of how they should apply those laws, how should they deal with criminals in terms of the Criminal Procedure Act, how should they deal with protecting themselves. They are taught on armed and unarmed combat. So it's quite a various courses that or subjects that they are taught when they are in the training. And of course, training don't stop at the college. When they are out, there is what we call in-service training, which regularly they must undergo. Thank you very much.
Thank you, National Commissioner. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to close our media briefing at that point. Thank you very much for your attendance and participation. Yes?
The minister will close.
Thank you very much. We are very much online with what organized labor are emphasizing on against people, I would say people, because I have to respect them, who have intentions of preying on student trainees, police trainees in academies, and begin to do what two of them have been arrested for in the short past. That's a very unfortunate incident, and we went to visit the college and saw the young student, and we condemn it in no uncertain terms. We condemn it. It doesn't represent SABC. It doesn't represent us. It doesn't represent the mores and the norms and ethical standards in society out there. You are in a position of trust. You are supposed to train people and inform them about their own ethics when they go out. And then you turn around. It's uncalled for. and therefore we are relying on the justice system to sort out those who have done so, and to sort them out thoroughly. On our part, we will support every move in that regard. And so it stands condemned, and will spare no moment in ensuring that such incidents don't take place in our institutions. This includes those officers who prey on, at times, on victims of sexual harassment, come to police station, and then they turn against them. That is criminal, outright criminal. Whatever argument they advance is utter criminal to do so, and we condemn it, and people must avoid it. But if they do so, we will. There will be consequences all the time. Finally, we want to warn against people out there sending WhatsApps that are misleading. We've come across some social media platforms with some misleading information about National Commissioner and all that. That information is misleading, and it must be taken for what it is, just misleading. There are people who want to interfere with how SABC is working at the moment, and who are focused on addressing criminality as opposed to getting diverted to things that are misleading out there. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving to the parade that's going to be on the field. You are welcome to please join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
Let's go. Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.